Hi guys, this is Doris. I really wanted to do a handstand yoga flow because there aren't that many out there, and also I love incorporating inversions and handstands in my practice. So this yoga flow is going to be for those who are already comfortable, getting on their hands, doing some handstands, but it's still going to incorporate the wall for those of you who are not, comfortable without the wall yet. So um, this video is for those who have been practicing handstands at least for some while. If you haven't done a handstand yet, I would definitely recommend trying doing a handstand or doing a beginner's class in handstands first. But I hope you enjoy this practice.
I want you to start in the middle of the mat and first do a stretch that you like and try to set your intention for this practice today. Then I want you to get onto tabletop position on your hands and knees and then cat-cow poses or chakravakasana. Breathe in while in cow pose and breathe out in cat pose. Then I want you to swivel your body forward and back while alternating cat-cow pose, pushing your weight onto your hands and breathing in and then back onto the knees while exhaling out. Create a wave with your spine. Now I want you to keep your palms on the floor and point your fingers outward to the sides and swivel back, side to side to stretch your forearms, and then back and move your body back to stretch your forearms even more. Do any movement you know that gets your wrists ready for handstands. Back to cat-cow spinal wave. On your next inhale, come into downward facing dog or Adho Mukha Shavasana. Then on your next exhale, I want you to recreate those spinal waves coming into plank and exhaling and back to downward dog with the knees a little bent while inhaling. Try to keep your shoulders away from your ears and your chest as close to your thighs as possible. Walk out your downward dog if you need to stretch your hamstrings. Now try spinal wave with straight legs if you can. Next, three-legged dog, and really try to create a straight line from your hands to your toes. Next, try by bending the bottom leg a little to bring your knee close to your chest, really working on your compression here. On your next exhale, bring your leg forward as you tuck your chest and step it between your hands, trying hard not to lift your hands before you plant your foot. Lower your elbows onto the floor for lizard pose or Uttanapishtasana. Breathe into the stretch. To take this stretch further, you can try what I'm doing. I'm trying to get my head as low to the mat as possible and my shoulder underneath my thigh. Come back into downward facing dog. Sorry for my cat. Here, take more spinal waves with deep breaths. Then come into three-legged dog with your right leg in the air. Again, here, try to make a straight line from your hands to your toes. Next, try to bring your lower leg or your left leg as close to your chest as possible to work on your compression. On your next exhale, step your foot between your hands and try lizard pose. Breathe and feel the stretch in that hip. If you want to take this further, you can try placing your right shoulder under your right thigh and try lifting your right foot off the ground while in this pose. Then come back into downward facing dog. And then upward facing dog. And then meet back in downward facing dog. Next, from downward facing dog, lift your left leg in the air and stack your hips. Try to really open your hips here, and you can try looking over your right shoulder to gaze at your left toes. Step your left foot between your hands and right away come into high lunge or Asha Chandrasana. Next, come back to lunge pose with your hands on the ground and step your left foot back just a little to set up for handstand hops. Lift your leg off the ground and shift your gaze between your hands and kick off your left foot. Find the wall with your right foot and find a drishti point. Next, meet in downward facing dog. Then the right leg in three-legged dog and stack the hips looking over the left shoulder to gaze at your right toes. Step your right foot between your hands and right away come into high lunge. Next, get ready for handstand hops. And when you hop, when you find the wall, find a drishti point or a focus point on the mat. Aim to keep your right leg low to encourage nice tail alignment. Meet back in downward facing dog. Take some time here to do what feels comfortable for you. If you need to take a break, then do that. I'm going to take 2 vinyasa flows and then we can meet back in downward dog. Next, take 3-legged dog with the left leg in air and right away step your left leg between the hands and take high lunge. Next, spin your right heel down for warrior 1 or Virabhadrasana 1. Next, warrior 2 and then peaceful warrior. Then place your left hand in front of your left foot and stretch the right side of your body while twisting your body, stacking your shoulder and shifting your gaze forward, upward. Next, straighten your leg for a triangle pose while keeping your gaze. From here, bend your left leg, knee, move back to warrior 2 and then high lunge. From high lunge, place your hands on the mat and step your left foot back just a little, set up for handstand hops. Don't forget to breathe while you're in a handstand. Try to keep your left foot as close between your hands as possible to set up for high lunge when you're coming down from handstand. From high lunge, place your hands on the mat and take 3-legged dog. Take your vinyasa flow. Meet back in downward facing dog. And let's take this to the other side. Take 3-legged dog with the right leg in the air and right away step your hands or your right leg between your hands and take high lunge. Next, spin your left heel down for warrior one, then warrior two, and then peaceful warrior. Then place your right hand in front of your right foot and stretch the left side of your body while twisting your body, stacking your shoulder and shifting your gaze upward. Next, straighten your leg for triangle pose and keeping your gaze. From here, bend your right knee, move back through warrior two to high lunge. From high lunge, place your hands on the mat and get ready for handstand hops. Remember to find the 360 point and don't forget to breathe. Take your time here, as I am. Try to get your right foot, as you're coming down from the handstand, as close to between your hands as possible to set up for high lunge. From high lunge, place your hands on the mat and take downward dog and take your Vinyasa flow. Meet back in downward facing dog. From downward dog, step or float to the top of your mat. Take a nice forward fold here. From here, take a seat on your mat with your right leg long in front of you. And take your left leg as close to you as possible and fold over your right leg. While placing your right hand on the floor, push the floor to get your left ribs lower than your right. Do this while pulling your hips back behind you. Take this to the other side. And don't forget to breathe. Next, place both legs straight in front of you for a nice forward fold. First, stretch your spine upwards and then fold over your legs. Breathe into the stretch that you feel. From here, we're going to set up for a yogic squat. Take your time. Try your best to get your heels on the floor, and with your hands in prayer, push your legs wider with your elbows. Now move your feet as wide as the mat, even wider if you need to, with toes splayed out, getting ready for insect pose. With a deep forward fold and deeply bent knees, work your torso through your legs. If it's in your practice, lift your arms and take your hands to your lower back for a bind. Attempt to straighten out your legs. From here, exit through Titibhasana, or insect pose. If you know it, take your hands to the mat, fingers facing forward, lengthen your legs, lift your hips, and engage the bandhas. You can also try this pose with a block under your bandhas if that helps. Exit and take butterfly pose, lengthening the spine and then folding over your legs. Do whatever stretch here that feels nice. Next, let's step our right foot forward and ground the back knee. Fold over that front leg and take some spinal waves here, alternating from low lunge to half split until you find full splits. Breathe into the stretch you feel. You can stay here folded over the right front leg. However, if it's in your practice, you can bend the back knee and pull the left foot towards your head. This helps align the hips. Come out of the splits when you're ready, and let's take the other side. Step your left foot forward when you're ready. And ground the back knee. Fold over that front leg and take some spinal waves here, alternating from low lunge to half split until you find full splits. Breathe into the stretch you feel. My left split is tricky here, so I'm going to stay in this pose, folded over my left leg. But if it's in your practice, you can bend the back leg and reach your right foot to your head. From here, make your way to pigeon pose on the right side with a bend in your right knee. From pigeon pose, make your way to forward lunge and then step your right foot back a little to set up for handstand hops. While in handstand, try to meet your feet together and slowly lower, trying to catch your feet as close to your hands as possible. Take flat back and then forward fold. Now take pigeon to the other side with the left leg bent. From pigeon pose, make your way to forward lunge and then step your left foot back a little to set up for handstand hops. While in handstand, try to meet your feet together and slowly lower, trying to catch your feet as close to between your hands as possible. Take flat back and then forward fold. Now what we are going to do here is some more handstand play. Bring your mat closer to the wall and meet in downward dog. Bring your feet closer to your hands, but not too close. And try taking a tuck handstand hops until you find yourself in handstand. Then slowly lower the same way you came up by tucking your knees to your chest. If you find some hang time, you can stay there. Ideally, you want to keep your knees together and close to your chest during a tuck. After this, take a break in child's pose. Next, we are going to pike up while keeping both legs as straight as possible. So, starting in downward dog, hop and try to get your hips high before bringing your legs up, while keeping your legs straight. Try to catch some hang time in the air and slowly lower the same way that you came up. Instead of pike up, you can also try straddle hops, which are easier. Instead of keeping your legs close together, you can keep your legs straight but straddle up by basically going into a split on your way up instead of keeping your legs together as I'm doing here. And try to lower the same way that you came up slowly. Take a rest in child's pose. Next, we are going to try some press handstand practice. Here I will be starting at the wall, and what I'm doing next is a really cool way to practice the press. So I'm going to walk really close to the wall and get the back of my head and the back of my upper back on the wall and try to walk my toes up as close as possible. I'm using so much pressure with my head, and I did this about 100 times before I felt any lift off whatsoever. And of course, try to slowly lower the same way you came up. You can also use an arm strap, which helps keep your arms straight in a handstand for press, which I demonstrate here. Using the strap, I'm going to try handstand press without the wall. And the way that I am getting into handstand press here, you will see that I will be lifting my left leg, and then my right leg, which is almost a puppy press without bending the left leg. Try to slowly lower the same way you came up. Again, I demonstrate at the wall while using the strap. Again, here, try to get your toes as close to the wall as possible and really press. And you'll see my cat will be messing with my hands here. Try to slowly lower. Another way to practice handstand press is by using blocks, as I demonstrate here. This helps you start off with your hips high, so that they give you some leverage, so that way you can press up. However, you do need a lot of flexibility in the hamstrings for this. And again, try to lower slowly. From here, I'm going to try crow pose. So from here, really lift the bandhas and shift your gaze forward. And try to lift your feet higher and closer to your bandhas. Then we will end in final Shavasana. Take whatever you need here, a blanket, a pillow to your knees, to get whatever you need to get comfortable. If you would like, you can pause this video and take a longer one. Thank you so much for joining me for this handstand practice. Please let me know in the comments below if you liked this video and if you would like me to do more handstand flows. I noticed that there weren't many on YouTube that were free, so I really wanted to contribute to more free handstand practice with yoga flows. Namaste.